All right, what up, everyone? We're live. It's the first Sunday pod of January, I believe. It's week 18. Not a lot to play for. Fantasy's dead. It's cold out. It's bitter. We're pretty much just waiting for playoffs. But the show must go on, huh? How's everybody doing? Anthony, what's cooking?
Oh, not a whole heck of a lot. Just getting over the flu here, the whole family. But otherwise, still happy to be here as always, talking football, even if it's week 18. Some people got championships. Some people maybe just want to hang out and talk ball for an hour.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Nate, what's going on with you?
Not too much. I actually got 2 Week 18 championship sweats myself.
You're one of those.
But when you get 8 leagues, you're bound to have a couple that are out there.
So yeah, tell me about that. How does that work? Is it just a 2-week playoff? Is it something weird?
No, just an extra regular season. I'm finally getting them to get on board to switch next season. It's just not the same game. You're playing half the guys you're playing in Week 18 weren't on your roster until this week, and it's just not fun. Too much variance.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And even now, right, we're a couple hours away from kickoff. We don't even know who's playing. I was looking at the lines this morning. Half the games don't even have any like props up. It's chaos. But more fantasy is always good. What about do you guys? What are the weird leagues you guys have heard of played in, seen? With weird formats. I saw one where on Twitter where the commissioner decides who wins the league. I was like, that's crazy.
What?
I know. I know.
I'm in a league. It's a 14-team league. There are so many different. I'll just run through it a little bit because there's just so much happening. It's a league that I can't ask anybody for advice on because there's just too much to consider that's out of the ordinary. So it's 14 teams. Everybody gets 4 keepers, but if you don't have a first round pick that year, you get a 5th keeper. You play 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 1 receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flex, kicker, defensive scoring. You get points for passes, defense, 4th down stops, the works. And then there's also you have to play defensive lineman, a linebacker, and a defensive back. So there's some form of IDP. There's like big play bonuses. The quarterbacks get points per completion, negative points per incompletion. Like it's the rushing yards instead of 10 yards per 1 point, it's 7 yards for 1 point. So the rushing yards are a little more juiced. It's a really interesting league to be in. I like the little quirky leagues that you just kind of have to figure out on your own. I think they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of quirky leagues. Like Survivor leagues are really cool, where it's like the team with lowest score gets eliminated each week. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I'm gonna try and diversify next year, getting some funky stuff. But
Nathan, you in any leagues with fun settings like that?
Yeah, I got one 10-team keeper league that's got 5 IDPs, a team defenses with the works like 4th down stops, yards allowed, like total yards allowed, pass defense, that type of deal. You keep 5. It's pretty funky. A lot like the league average is like 220 a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy, and it's 2 QB, no super flex, just 2 QB.
2 quarterbacks. Oh wow.
Yeah,
pretty much the same thing. People always get up in evil with this distinction. I mean, I think I've started a non QB in a super flex once because injury and a bye, so it's a little overrated. But anyone watching, if you got some weird settings, drop it. We can talk about it because this is Freaky Sunday. Nothing's off topic. We just had 2 games yesterday, which were just terrible. Right, these standalone days have been just brutal for football. I'm pretty much unwatchable unless you had a Derrick Henry touchdown bet and you were sweating it until the 4th quarter, like I was. But let's talk. We got all these incentives, right? You guys caught up on all the incentives going around?
Not all of them. I know Van Noy got. He only needed a half a sack yesterday. He got that. I know that because I talked about it. The big one is Mike Evans. I think he's like 80-something yards from
85 5 catches.
Yeah, that's the main incentive that I know this week. I find them to be a bit overrated in a sense. Because sometimes the teams will try to save money. Like I know, like Cooper Rush is another one. He's got to, if he plays like half the game or something, he's hit his playing time incentive. I think word came out yesterday that they were expecting a lot of Trey Lance. So, I mean, again, I think it's kind of overrated from the betting perspective and even the fantasy perspective, because sometimes owners will recognize that and pull someone before they can get it. Though Mike Evans, I think, is absolutely going to hit both of his because they have to win today.
Yeah, and Baker already said, he said if we're winning, Mike's getting it. So,
Right.
his line's been pushed up. It's like 97 yards. I bet it. I mean, why
Might
not?
as well. Yeah.
I wish somebody could kept track of like the incentives over the years, so we actually knew. This seems to be like incentive year, where all my Twitter is just incentives. Even Derrick Henry last night, right? They're saying he needed one touchdown to get his like $500,000 bonus, but he actually had 2 receiving touchdowns. So his 14 rushing was actually buoyed by his 2 receiving. So he'd already hit the bonus, and Twitter didn't catch up until late. So, there's it's.
I think he needed. I think the rushing touchdown was also to get the Ravens single season record, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. You got that.
I'm sure they wanted to get him that. He deserves it. He had an incredible season with them.
Yep, that's true. There's a couple others. I think Tony Pollard needs about 85 rushing yards to get a big one. MBS touchdown. There's all sorts of ones. Von Baker. Wait, who's the defense? Von Baker? Who's the defensive player on the Bills? Is it Von Baker?
Von Miller.
If he gets a sack, he gets like $1.5 million. So I'm waiting for that one to come out.
Ooh.
Nate, your boy Brock Bowers he's 9 catches away from some sort of record.
Yeah,
I actually didn't notice that.
Yeah, I saw that. He's like, I think it's 9 catches away from the tight end record, like the all-time receptions in the season. Malik Neighbors, my boy, is low-key just I think like 4 or 5 receptions behind Brock Bowers for the rookie record. So if he he might be playing for that at some point if Brock Bowers maybe doesn't have a ton of volume. But
and then also for the rookie receiving, maybe for the season total, him and Brian Thomas are really close. So
yeah, I think Malik is. I think they're within like 100 yards of each other, maybe even closer to 50.
Yeah, 100%. But this is what we got. It's week 18. There's not a lot to play for. I mean, except for the Sunday nighter, right?
Oh my god,
it's worth it all for the Sunday nighter. It's essentially a playoff game. I can't wait. I'm going to make the world's biggest Justin Jefferson bet. So I'm just hoping to just build up my war chest a little and just blind bet him whatever it is, however much they will allow me.
Just over at hammer the overs. The winner of this gets the division. And the bye. Do the Eagles have the bye?
No, it's between these two.
Okay. I knew it was for the division. I wasn't totally sure because I know the Eagles are obviously resting folks, but I didn't catch like if they had the 1 seed locked or if they were essentially. Sounds like they're going to be the 2 seed. So.
Yeah, they got they got Hurts out, they got Kenny Pickett out, so it's some guy Brian was talking about. I already forgot.
Tanner McKee, I think.
Yeah, Henry McKee.
Something McKee or McKay.
I think Brian was saying he's pretty good. I think he can swing it, so he could be sneaky.
Well, it's not that hard to beat the Giants, so hopefully it happens for him.
It's only 2.5 points.
Well, that's because it's they're playing. The Eagles are playing their third stringers, but that still might be better than Giant starters. I want to ask y'all something about this game real quick while we're here. Saquon Barkley is 101 yards away from breaking the record. 100 ties it, 101 breaks it. What do y'all think about them benching everyone and not even going for it?
Well, it's the thing with football is it's not process based, it's results based, right? If he plays and he's healthy, they look brilliant. If he plays, he gets hurt, they're morons. Like we just saw, Zay Flowers got hurt. They just announced he's probably going to be out for the wild card game. I mean, it just I don't know. I think he'd had 30 carries the last 2 weeks or something. So I just wouldn't. I wouldn't risk it. Play for the Super Bowl.
Nathan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, when you're in a position like that, if you get literally no benefit in seeding from a win, then I understand resting. But like if you have at least some adverse gain to go with the record, and you're playing for something meaningful, then I could justify it. Kind of en route to a win. But if it's just going out there trying to break a record when you got bigger goals at hand, it's hard to make that.
Or if they had the bye coming up, then play him, go for the record, take the extra week. But I don't know. Anthony, you about records? I'm a record guy too. It's just I'm not saying.
Yeah, I think they should go for it. I think
fair.
absolutely. That's like a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I think as a competitor, as we know, Saquon is one of the ultimate competitors. I think that if I'm within like a reasonable shot of breaking a record, like if I have an average game, I'm breaking the record today, right?
That's true. And it's the Giants, like worst run
I
defense.
want that opportunity.
Okay,
Like,
you're right.
give me a shot. I think I think they should play a half. Give him a half. He could probably break it. He could probably break it in the first half.
You've convinced me. You're right. It's the Giants play half, 12 carries. You should be able to get it, right? Have some plays,
Yeah, the Giants can't stop a nosebleed even if they tried. I would, and I saw a clip, and obviously Saquon being the pro that he is was like, hey, I get it. We got a bigger goal in mind. We want to win the Super Bowl. But from my perspective, you could tell he was like, I think he really wanted a shot at it.
I don't know, because there's that scene earlier in the season where the coach was like, "You're 14 yards away from your career high. Do you want it?" And he's like, "Nah, screw it."
I think career high is a bit different. You could do that any given Sunday. This is an accumulation of an entire season, and I mean, look, as awesome as Saquon has looked this season, and the Eagles have looked rushing the ball and everything. What are the odds he's going to come close to this next year? What are the odds he's going to break 2,000 yards rushing and be 100 yards from the record? Like, you have an opportunity right now, like for something that you might never do again.
This is a clincher for me. Mr. Magic says nothing better than breaking the rushing record against your former team. You're right. Yeah. I've been totally flipped. He 100% should have done it. That would have been iconic. Just dagger, twist it, put some poison on it.
I also think he should have went for his season high when he could have against the Giants. Not even just because it was against the Giants, but that would have been the icing on the cake for him, I'm sure.
I wonder if they put an asterisk on it because it was against the Giants. So we were talking some seasonal review on the Thursday pod. Andy, you got a little audio back?
Oh, yeah. I think it's the microphone. Let me mute myself.
Oh, okay. I guess that's one. But season review, anything that kind of lessons learned, guys that maybe started like Sam Laporta was my example, guys that were kind of crap busted early, but actually finished really strong and actually ended up being worth kind of their draft capital. Nate, to start with you, any lessons you've learned from this season trying to going forward, like tattoos in your arm?
Don't be out on good running backs on good offenses. I think Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, guys like that were definitely highly undervalued. Like wide receivers, everyone kind of overbit on wide receivers this season, and you had guys like Zay Flowers getting drafted over Josh Jacobs as just a guaranteed a workhorse in a Green Bay Packers offense led by Matt LaFleur. Just doesn't make sense to be overlooked like that. And there's just a lot of safer bets that kind of just got pushed to the side by one or two red flags that kind of got kind of blown up a bit. Kind of not latching onto one data point or anything.
Okay,
like
yeah, this was the summer of the wide receivers, and it did blow up pretty fantastically. Anthony, any tattoos on your arm?
When a team looking to take the next step trades for a veteran wide receiver, buy.
Who are we talking about?
Stephon Diggs. Everyone was kind of fading him a little bit. He might be the third man in that Texans offense. He came out and he was performing just as well as Stephon Diggs till he got hurt. And even to a certain extent, Keenan Allen, I know his season was maybe kind of hit or miss, but I think he might have led the Bears in targets. He had some monster games when he was playing. Caleb Williams liked to throw him the ball a lot. So, yeah, I think that when teams trade for veteran wide receivers, you buy. Like last year, the Panthers traded for Adam Thielen. And even when Adam Thielen played this year, he played well. Deontay Johnson may be the exception on that this year. He didn't really do too much. But, yeah, veteran wide receivers in new situations. It used to be something to fade, but I think it's kind of turning into something to start buying again.
Yeah, Keenan Allen's perfect because I think he started slow, but I felt like every game back half of the season, he's getting 6-7 catches. He's scoring. He's getting his yards. I was betting him a lot. That's a perfect one. Veteran wide receivers. Okay, I was really down on the veteran running back switching teams. I felt like that's something that never works. But then we got Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, all mixed and faded schedule wise at the end. But Mr. Magic Keenan Allen back to LA. Is
That'd be
he
nice.
what?
So Allen came out and said he would only play in Chicago or Los Angeles next season, being
Okay.
Rams, Chargers, or Bears. I'm assuming based on location alone
I'm
at this stage of his career.
I'm going to assume that he's specifically talking about the Chargers, unless I missed the quote. Unless he mentioned the Rams, I would assume it would be the Chargers or the Bears.
I don't think he'd want to go to the Rams, be the third wheel. The target share is already dwindled. So, Mr. Magic, since he's super active, we're going to give you some love. But first, anyone on Twitter, just jump over to YouTube. You drop us a like, drop us a question. We're talking anything today because the slate's not that exciting. We'll do a little Sunday night preview, but, there's not a lot cooking. Also, right, we got our Discord. We're on Blue Sky. Definitely head over to Discord. We're answering questions year-round. But, all right, so, Anthony, rank these redraft next season. These questions are great. Give us all of them. Jacobs, Achane, Kyron, Bucky. This is tough. I don't even know who's won. Let's just do PPR just for.
Yeah. I'd probably oh my god. I think Jacobs is last for me.
Yeah. Okay. I agree.
I think that's the one. And I still think he's going to probably be a top 15 back next year. So all these guys are good. So saying he's last I'm not like going to be down on him.
We got to figure it out. Reverse engineer it.
Right. So, and then I'm real. Putting Kyron third feels so wrong, but I think I'm torn between Achane and Bucky Irving for 1 and 2.
So just quickly, the way they finished this year, it looks like Achane 5, Jacob 6, Kyron 7, and then Bucky's 15.
Yeah, I think Bucky's got a lot of juice, and he's just going to get better and better next year. I'd probably go with Chan, Bucky, Kyron, Jacobs. But, it really feels like 1 through 3 can be flipped in almost any order, and it's like, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah, what do you look at? So, who's got the best O-line? Green Bay?
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
All right, most who's all right? Who's guaranteed most? Like it's tough because I think Bucky's probably the best back, but it's like they use White. They like using Tucker. Baker loves to throw it. This is a fun question. I'm just thinking if I'm drafting, let's say I'm drafting at like 12. I'm coming up. Who am I the most? I might take Bucky for the division. Right? Because I know I get to play Panthers and Falcons and Saints. Those are like 3 bottom rush defenses. So that might do it for me. We're looking for just little things to put us over the edge here.
Yeah, I think these guys are all probably going to go in the first 3 or 4 rounds, or they should. Nathan, what do you think?
This is close. I think it's hard to ignore the season that Josh Jacobs is having for me. Like just down the stretch, he's been so automatic, like averaging north of 20 a game. It feels like in the last 10 weeks or something like that.
But he's not a game breaker, right? Like look at his yards per average, right? 4.1, 5.3, 3.6, 3.7, 2.3, 4.1, 4.2, right? It's all usage based.
Yeah, and he is the.
Yeah,
I think he's younger than we give him credit for too. I think he's only 26. I want to say maybe 27.
I'm gonna say 28. He's been in the league forever. 26. Good job. Oh my God. I feel like he's been in the league for 9 years.
I want to say he was a young rookie when he came out.
Okay. Did he come in at 20? Nathan, you would know. He came in with the Raiders.
Maybe 21, but he was young. Because I remember Kendra Miller being the youngest player in the league and he was like days before his 21st. So I want to say Josh Jacobs was 21 when he came
Braylon Allen, for what it's worth, is the youngest player in the league this year, I think. He came in at 20.
So another thing we were talking about Thursday, rookie wide receivers, right? It seems like that was a trend that was coming. This year, everyone was kind of on it, but not more like, they'll pop late because that's what happens. But then this year, right? Brian Thomas Jr. was essentially Puka Nacua this year, right? You didn't get him as late, but league swinger. I think most of the leagues that Brian Thomas Jr. probably made the finals, right? And then Neighbors was what, 3rd round pick? He's insane. Marvin Harrison Jr. not so great. Anyone else I'm missing? Like Keon Coleman. Lad McConkey, right? Lad was
McConkey,
insane.
yeah.
So like next year, are we? What if you you only draft rookie wide receivers? It's like kind of a shotgun approach.
I think they're great like value pockets. Like they kind of find themselves in like kind of this like muddy tiers because they're rookies, right? They have baked in kind of like that mystery box upside is
Yeah.
also not guaranteed. So they're kind of they'll sink down, but that ceiling might pay off a lot greater than some of the veterans they find themselves next to. Like maybe they're in like wide receiver. A wide receiver one in a bad offense might not be as good as like a rookie stepping into a number 2 role in a good offense. I think we saw that this year too. Like a lot of number 2 receivers were just outperforming like the teams that were players that were supposed to get starting, alpha roles in the offense.
Like who? Because I was going to say the opposite. We saw Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. take off with Mac Jones and whatever.
I'm sorry, I meant like just in general, like wide receiver 2s and often not rookie wide receiver 2s, but like T Higgins, guys like that.
JSN is one that came on late that I thought of.
Yeah, JSN was always kind of ascending, but DK took a step back. Because the wide receiver 2s, I find is something that we would like to bet on. Devontae Smith, I guess he came on late, but Jalen Waddle, they don't really hit, right? It's like the floor is okay, but the ceiling doesn't really pop. So you'd rather have because I think in the summer, I was like, yeah, give me a wide receiver 2 on a great offense rather than a wide receiver 1 with a crap quarterback. But I don't think that played out this year. I think the crap quarterback was great because they just hyper target.
Yeah. Definitely something I have to look at further before trying to back myself up here. But I agree. I just like the
you can disagree with me. We're just
no. I think I'm just more so like buying into like just volume based offenses that have enough to go around for multiple guys rather than hoping you get the squeeze on your one, like hoping it goes to the wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2. It kind of faded off of the Rams, but since he's got it, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time placing it in my head, but just hyper focusing on the top guys available in each week.
Yeah, so you're talking like Tampa when they had Godwin and Evans versus Buffalo, where it's like it could be anyone.
Who are you gonna
right?
do? Yeah, where Josh Allen is top 3 QB week in, week out, but it's just so muddied that it's not. Was it even worth drafting any Bills wide receiver this season?
I think Shakir probably was
solid.
Shakir,
yeah.
But
just even like we even rebit when Cooper got traded there, and that's another thing too. Like guys who were baked in, like who had baked in like trade rumors this season, just didn't pan out. Like DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper, guys like that who were saying like had that mystery box upside if they got traded. Devontae Adams was really the only one who got there.
Yeah, I think I was saying like Amari Cooper was going to be in the best spot after the trade, and then no, he had that one blow up game, and then the next game was the Lions. He had I think 0 targets or 0 receptions.
Mm-hmm.
So also, Anthony, what about let's say next year you got a top pick. You can pick anywhere, snake draft 1 to 12. Where are you picking? What spot and what guy are you kind of looking for?
I like to pick towards the turn, so I'm either trying to pick in the top 3 or the bottom 3.
Nice. Okay.
That's just always kind of my strategy. If I'm in the top 3, probably looking to take Saquon.
Okay, just keep it simple, stupid.
I think it would either be Saquon, Jamar Chase, or Justin Jefferson. I mean, like you just. I think those will probably be the big 3 next year. Bijan too. Yeah, there'll probably be like a big 5. I'd say because you throw Bijan in there, and then I'm sure somebody at some point will get some hype and gum in the top 5. Maybe Puka with his monstrous first read share. So yeah, I think the top 5 would probably be a really good spot if you want to lock in what should feel like a safe stud. And then if you're looking in the back half of drafts, if you're drafting like 10, 11, 12, I don't hate taking like a Jahmyr Gibbs there still. I love that. Maybe Nico Collins in that area. Somebody that I always think it's good to try to take players that you think are going to obviously you always want to do this, but I'll take a little risk on the back half of the turn and not just kind of stick to consensus. Like this year, for instance, this isn't someone that I was on, but just an example. Like Nico Collins, at least in best ball, was kind of going in like the middle to back half of the second round. I mean, I if you took him at the turn, at the 1-2 turn, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-ish or so, I mean, it worked out. So I think trying to find that guy in the back half of drafts is always important if you're drafting around the turn.
I was all in on Nico. And then when he strained his hamstring on that like 70-yard touchdown, I almost died. Mr. Maddox, don't worry, we're gonna get to all your questions. Anybody with questions, drop us anything. We'll talk anything. We'll talk next year's rank, projections, week 18, playoffs. We're gonna do pods for the playoffs because that's really when football's fun. And that's my favorite. So, right, if you're on Twitter, jump over to YouTube, drop us a question, Discord, Blue Sky, we're on everything. I'm always answering questions on Twitter. I love talking quarterbacks, Nathan. So, this year, it was kind of maybe not predictable, but it kind of fell the way it assumed. It was top heavy. Either take your early studs, Allen, Hurts, Lamar, Mahomes was not a stud, or skip the middle tier and go to the end, right? Take the Flyers, take Goff, take Baker, take Purdy, take Jaden Daniels. Do you think it's going to be the same? Avoid CJ Stroud, avoid Jordan Love, avoid Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I think that next year we're gonna see just the elite rushing QBs in that tier of their own up top. I think it'll be Josh Allen, Lamar, Jaden Daniels, and Jalen Hurts, just because of how safe that rushing floor is. It's so much volume that they're getting on the ground, and it's just something that pure pocket passers don't present on a week-to-week basis. That floor is just too money. Like Lamar had, I want to say 14 20-point games this season, which is crazy. I think it's 3 more than the next closest guy at any position. It's just, I think it'll be separate. It'll be a tier break after those 4. And it'll probably be someone like Joe Burrow leading the way in the next group.
Yeah, Burrow is the exception, right? He's going 3 touchdown passes every game, hyper focusing, and when you got a back like Chase Brown too, you just kind of get to pick.
One thing for y'all, where are we putting Patrick Mahomes next year?
He's almost. This goes into one of Mr. Magic questions. Rashee Rice's ADP. Anthony, what do you think? Because I was going to say he's almost undraftable, but then he might have the best offense he's ever had next year.
I don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to be undraftable, but I'm probably. I mean, he's got to be outside the top 10, 12, right? He's probably going to be maybe he'd probably stay inside of the top 15 just because the talent and the offense and all that. But I don't know. Again, I don't know that I'm drafting him in the top 10 quarterbacks at least.
But right, I mean, Kelsey probably plays, but he's pretty, whatever. But Rashee Rice was a stud. You got Hollywood, Xavier Worthy, second-year blow-up. He's going to be like this, not sleeper. He's going to be the hottest guy in the, in the town, right? So it's a lot of weapons. But
I think Hollywood was just on a 1-year deal. He's not. I don't think he's guaranteed to be back next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think this was a 1-year deal. Unless I'm mistaken, I think this was a 1-year deal. I mean, they could certainly bring him back. He's, he played. I think his first game was 2 weeks ago, and he had 8 targets. So, I mean, that actually makes me so upset. I drafted a lot of Hollywood Brown, and it just makes me wonder how much money I could have won if he would have just stood healthy.
What about Hopkins? Is he on a deal? Is he a free agent?
I'm not sure. I don't know if he was still under contract when they traded him. So he might still have another year on his contract from when he was in Tennessee, but I'm really not sure about his status.
He is unrestricted this offseason.
Because let's say if they just bring one back, right? It's just I'm going to talk myself into Mahomes again, right? If he's got Kelsey, Hopper, Hollywood, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, those are that's a lot of yards, a lot of plays. So what are we doing with Rashee Rice, right? I mean, nobody wanted him because he's his Vegas stuff, right? He's domestic off season. Plus he blew up late in the season, but then week 1 it was just you just saw it over the middle, slant, right? He's getting 8 catches, 80 yards. He's scoring every game. He's Mahomes' favorite target, hyper target. When he tore his ACL, I think it was ACL. Could have been MCL, PCL.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
pretty
sure.
sure.
Probably ready for camp, but as we've seen, we don't draft injured guys. So what are we doing? 4th round, 5th round, Mahomes bump, Nathan. What are we doing?
It'll depend on. Do we think he's going to be for sure ready for next season? How early was the
Let's say
injury?
week 1. Let's say he's in training camp week 1. He's playing.
Okay. Playing week 1, I'd probably take him like probably somewhere around like round 6, 7, maybe a little higher. But it's hard because you also got to bake in if Hollywood returns. But I mean,
One of them.
I guess there
from
won't
Hollywood
be.
or
Assuming someone returns for target competition's sake alongside Xavier Worthy, who should be a second year, maybe gets a sophomore bump with his first full length off season. Yep, I'd probably land him somewhere around 6.
Okay.
6th round.
I doubt he's going to make it to that. Anthony, what are you doing? Because you're drafting Rashee Rice. You're kind of drafting him for the back half, anyways. You just hope he can kind of stay healthy. Probably maybe not even start him week 1 or 2, right?
Yeah, I mean, Rashee Rice, he in half PPR, he finished the season as the wide receiver 14 in average points per game. And I mean, I think he goes in the top 20.
Oh, top 20 wide receivers.
Yeah, top 20 wide receivers, not 20.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he goes in the top 20 wide receivers. He certainly has that upside. Patrick Mahomes clearly loves him. I think he was one of those guys where, like, when CJ Stroud came out, he went to the front office and was like, draft Tank Dell. I think that Patrick Mahomes, when Rashee Rice was drafted, I think Mahomes went to the front office and was like, draft Rashee Rice.
Okay.
So he clearly loves him. So yeah, I think he's going to go in the top 20 wide receivers.
Let's say he finished the season healthy, kind of did what he was going to do. Mr. Magic, all the questions, man. I love it. Give us all the questions. Let's say he was healthy, finished. Where would he go? Is he like he's probably top 20 overall, right? The way he's getting targeted in like a PPR league.
Yeah. Top 20 overall might be a little stretch, but it's also not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, he was awesome when he was healthy. Do we know what's going to happen with his legal stuff and a potential suspension next year?
That's true. They kicked it back to okay. We're going to move off Rashee Rice.
That's the only thing. If he's clear from all that and isn't going to face a suspension, he's going to be drafted in the top 20 wide receivers. If there is a suspension, I'd probably still be comfortable taking him in the top 36, like wide receiver 3 range, just for that upside that he's going to bring whenever he does play.
Okay. And then Mr. Magic with more. So do you see Kamara being top 10 next year? Nathan, I don't. He's got to be 28, 29 now, right? He's got a lot of wear and tear. He was great this year, but I mean, did they overuse him? I mean,
yeah, I don't know what Saints offense we're going to see next year either. And he's kind of at that cliff where I do think there's a lot of strong running back talent in the league right now. We saw a few really step into some big roles, like Chase Brown, Bucky Irving should both be, I think, top 10 backs next year. And I think that will naturally move Kamara out of that role, but I think he'll still be a PPR merchant kind of guy who can get you a safe floor.
Yeah. I always say I like my running backs how Leo likes his girlfriends, right? Like under 25. So, but with Kamara, it's just we kind of had the running backs were supposed to die at 28, but now it's kind of seemed like it's been elongated, maybe with medical, healthy, regimen. Like Derrick Henry's 30, right? He's a monster. Josh Jacobs' dog years is like 30. We saw a lot of older running backs kind of still. Even Joe Mixon, is he 28? He was great. So, Kamara is definitely going to fall. So I think, right, will Kamara be drafted top 20 running back? So I think he's got a nice value gap there. And then we also got, all right, Anthony, how will you approach CMC with no setbacks in camp or anything?
I'd still probably draft him as a top 12 back for that upside. He's still so good. One of those players that I'll take a shot on and just be willing to hold the bag for the upside.
Okay. For me, I'm on this year. For me, my net tattoo. Don't draft injured guys. It's just I'm not doing it. I got burned. I got burned with CMC. I got burned with Hollywood. I got burned with Chubb. Um, like
But
Nate,
if we
would you take?
assume that there's no setbacks in camp or anything, then he's healthy next season, going
Yeah,
into
but he was
next
supposed to
season.
be healthy week 1. Remember week 1? It was a Monday nighter. It was like Tuesday. CMC's like, I'm good to go.
Yeah, but
And
there
then
was still some murkiness with some injuries. I think the question is like, there's no setbacks, there's no injuries. Like he's fully healthy and ready to roll. Like this offseason, there was always some talk about injuries. I think the question is assuming that doesn't happen next
yeah, but
season.
I'm saying I don't care. I'm not trusting
Oh,
it. I
you just
don't
don't
believe.
care. Okay.
Yeah, like the
Okay.
Nick Chubb squatting 600 pounds. I don't. I'm out. I mean, CMC is 28. He's had a bunch of injuries. I'm not going down the road again. I'm only drafting healthy players. I'm only drafting young running backs. I'll take a little cap on the ceiling. I don't care.
Okay. I respect it.
Okay, and then another one of my favorite things is the guy that won one of my big money leagues. He's a Bucks fan, so all he does every year is draft the Bucks. So like when Brady was there, he'd take Brady, Godwin, Gronk, and Evans, and he's won 2 titles in the last 4 years. He's terrible at fantasy, but he just stacks his teams. Like obviously you guys can't do that because your teams are terrible, but
Yeah.
Brian was talking again. He's got a guy who's a Bills, so he just gets Josh Allen in all the parts, and it's like Allen seems like he always finishes the season with 35 fantasy points a game. If you think is that a viable strategy, and what are some of the teams you might want to do that? So we call it the super stack.
Yeah. The super stack is kind of hard, like tough for me to get in on in a redraft format because you're living and dying by one team, and then there are a few cases where I do that. I think Cincy's one.
Yeah,
Tampa might be one, and I think the key is you have a bad defense on the other side, so you have that guaranteed
definitely.
volume coming back the other way. And I think you can't count on Buffalo because they're winning so much, and it's so concentrated through Josh Allen and the run game too. That like teams like that, you're often not gonna hit the two receivers coming back with Josh Allen or something like that.
But there's a flip
Um,
side to everything, right? So it's like if you get Allen, then you get the wide receivers you get late, right? It was like last year with Mahomes, right? You
mhm.
take Mahomes and you can get all the wide receivers late. You're going to miss on a bunch, but then if you hit on the Rashee Rice, it looks
Mhm.
good. So I mean,
Yeah, kind
everything's got a push and a pull.
of. Get a
So
couple
Nathan, you
darts.
were thinking with the super stack a quarterback and 2 wide receivers. I was thinking a quarterback, a running back, and a wide receiver,
Okay, yeah, I'm also in
or
on
a
that.
tight end in there
I
too.
was thinking that too with Chase Brown and Bucky Irving because you kind of like corner the
Yeah,
market on touchdowns in one offense, right? You're guaranteeing to get all the points that come out of
That's the goal, right? Yeah.
one offense. And yeah, with teams like that, I think that's exactly what you would look for and where it would be viable, or at least like not like something you should turn away from. Because I feel like in the past you could be like it'd be like minus or like bad value to get a quarterback and running back on the same team because it's two different bets almost. Um, but with so much volume going in, Cincy and Tampa have it down to where you can be comfortable with that. But I don't know if I'd go anywhere else beyond that.
Really? Anywhere else? Okay. And because the one title I won, I did that with Detroit.
Yeah.
I got, I got Amon Ra, I got Laporta, I got Goff, and then I don't know, I got somebody else, but
yeah.
it seems like it kind of shrinks your, your risk a little. It makes you just hyper focus one area. If that team screws you, you're screwed. But I don't know. Fantasy's already so volatile.
Mm.
Yeah, the
Anthony, what
Lions
about?
are
Oh,
the
go ahead.
Lions are definitely a team you can do it with. I want to say the Dolphins, but Tua is just so hit or miss. Like you can draft Tariq, Etienne, and Tua and probably feel okay about it. Um, Maybe the Cardinals next year, if you believe in Kyler Murray. You can go Trey McBride, you can go Marvin Harrison Jr., you can go James Conner. I wouldn't force the super stack, but like if the right opportunity approaches, then that's fine. I actually want one of my big best ball teams was a super flex league where I did a super stack with the Bucks and the Bengals, so that just kind of really worked out for me this year. But best ball is kind of a different animal. But there's not a ton of teams that you really would like to super stack like that. I think we kind of hit them all.
So one Jason brought up because he's a Niners fan and he just always talks about the Niners, which drives me crazy. But they're gonna have like the last place schedule, right? So it's like I think if you can get the quarterback late, that's the key, right? Maybe you take CMC, you take Kittle, you get an Ayuk or Debo, Pearsall, then you get Brock late, and it's like you got a really good offense. Willie Walk, I got you. We're gonna get to. I really like that one. That's one I'm gonna probably target next year. I think the Niners are going to be out for blood. So, but their defense might be too good. Like Nathan, you're saying that's the key. Bad defense, right? You want to be shootouts.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Redskins, right? If you go Jaden Pollard, Brian Robinson, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it depends. Brian Robinson is solid, but I feel like he's a guy that they might try to replace next year with a younger running back. That's especially with the incredible rookie running back class that's coming out. I feel like he might be a guy that is going to lose a lot of value this offseason.
Okay, man, that's fair. Yeah, they need weapons, even though their offense is great. All right, Willie Wonka, would you start Pollard? He says Tony Pollard. Is there another Pollard? Ty Spears is out, and Pollard's got big incentives. And Tennessee's playing Houston, which is I think they're decent against running back. I know receiving running back they don't allow like checkdowns. I would 100% start Pollard. I don't know who else you got, but I'm going to bet Pollard. Right, he's got an incentive. Tennessee's got nothing to play for. They're probably going to feed him. It's the last game of the year. I think Pollard's a super smash today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what other better options are out there, really? Yeah, I think Pollard's in a good spot too.
So another thing we're talking about too, I like the backup running backs. It seems like this year it just paid off like out the moon, right? We got you had Bucky, we had Charbonnet, we had Ty Spears late was awesome. I guess Chase Brown a little was Zach Moss. Anyone else I'm forgetting here? Like some of them did hit Blake Corum. Braylon Allen was about to, but is it a viable strategy just to get like kind of the elite stashes, or would you just go handcuff and then go all in?
I think there are a few scenarios where I would go like pure handcuff. Like I want some like
Jordan
a backup.
Sorry.
Yeah, like a backup running back with like actual talent, like who's been proven to like whether it be some sort of untapped upside, like anyone who's kind of trotted out there and had their chance before, and did nothing with it, or like the
like Madison.
Yeah, like the Madisons of the league, like just the ones who are going to go out there and crawl to 3 yards per carry when they get the reins to an offense. It's not too enticing. And I think it's also like good offenses too, like teams that lead the league in yards before contact, like someone who could step into big roles just because of the line in front of them. Like in Philly, San Fran, Baltimore. A lot of these guys are too durable for that, but if you're drafting top guys and you're starting them all year anyway, and you have the handcuff if need be, and yeah, I think if you're making that bet on the superstar, just trust the situation, and if he goes down, then you got the next man up who's going to soak that up.
Okay, so like running back seems like that's what we write the most about every year. It's the biggest question mark. What are the markers? Like if you're looking to draft running back, what are you looking for? Like O-line usage, like bell cow, dual threatness. What maybe how they treat the goal line, right? Run pass splits. Like what are the things where it's like, okay, that's the guy I really want to target.
Yeah, like like a heavy neutral rush rate is pretty important. Like teams that are like more inclined to run the ball when the game is tied or within the score are definitely just players who won't get boxed out via game script. Like regardless, they're still efficient enough that the team won't go away from them when the margin is too big.
So on a good team, then really, right? That's one of the big ones, right? Like. Would it be Anthony? Like, let's say, what if the Giants, right? They suck. What if they go get like Ashton Giante, right? They're gonna have a bad O line, bad team, bad QB. Would you still go target him? All right, because we saw Chuba Hubbard kind of broke that mold this year. He was great, even though the Panthers sucked.
Yeah, I probably still would. I mean, the Giants were bad and had a bad O line with Saquon Barkley, and he was consistently an RB1. So the talent usually wins out. A bad situation definitely limits the upside, and Saquon is the great example of that. I know we keep going back to him, but he was great with the Giants. Then he goes to a good team with a good offensive line, and he's ready to break records. So it's certainly helpful, but I won't shy away from an elite running back on a bad team.
Yeah, I don't think we can harp on the Saquon thing enough, right? It should looking back, it's so obvious. Superstar generational talent goes from like worst team, worst O-line to best team, best O-line. Why weren't we just taking him first overall? Like just, the doy, right? So
yeah, we were all worried about the tush push taking away touchdowns.
That's true. That's true. But so maybe is it don't galaxy brain thinking for next year? Kind of just, keep it simple, stupid, right? Let's take, O-lines. Let's rank the best 5 O-lines and just take the running backs on them, right? Detroit, take Gibbs, take Monty, and just start them both every week and get 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, sometimes Occam's razor is definitely just the best way to go about it. Just the simplest outcome is usually just the best one. Saquon was a good running back. He went to a good team with a good offensive line. It's probably going to be good. I think that sometimes we can try to galaxy brain things too much.
I think that's also what will help keep CMC's value afloat too, is because that Niners offensive line and the way that running game works. Like if he's healthy, anyone who's healthy, we've seen it can go out there, not named Patrick Taylor, can go out there and get fantasy points behind that line. And if CMC is just the guy that you get in the first round, but you just make it a priority to get Jordan Mason later, then
or Garendo.
Or Garendo. Yeah, either way, whoever winds up being next in the depth chart next year. You've seen that they've both been able to replicate these not monster, but they get there on the ground with 16 to 20 points, and that's plenty to help you get the win in a week.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So let's kick to a little bit of the Sunday night game tonight and talk a little about that because it's just such a banger. All right, Anthony, my favorite question. So if you could start any of the 3 guys in this game, who are you going with?
All right. So
Vikings.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go in order. I'm going to go Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown are my 3.
That's a hard one to break. Nathan, would you try to sneak a QB in there? But I mean, how are you picking Darnold versus Goff, right?
Flip a coin. I'd probably go with the same order that Anthony had. But you gotta love everybody here. It's just perfect.
Yeah, they're all great plays. Like Addison's a great play. What's his name? Aaron Jones is a great play. Hawkinson's probably going to be a decent play. Laporta is a good play. Like they're all good plays. Both quarterbacks will probably, I guess, especially with the quarterback talent, both these quarterbacks might finish in the top 5 this week, considering who else is playing quarterback for other teams this week. The NFL really did right by us this time and gave us a real banger to end the season.
I keep trying to figure out how I'm not just going to put just an ungodly amount of money on this game, right? Bet both QBs, right? Bet both QB passing touchdowns. Do Jefferson, Amon-Ra stat, just because I like to do little 2-hitter parlays. Just shoot Jefferson and Amon-Ra yards, right? Do both of them to score. Just like it's indoors. There's no bad weather. Both rush defenses are great. The Lions' pass defense, I think, is what has been the worst in the league recently. Both teams are firing on all cylinders. There's super stakes. Both coaches love to blitz, so it's going to be like, man. I mean, I'm scared about how much money I'm going to have on this game.
What's your best bet for this game, John?
I don't know yet. I still got to dig in a bit, but I'm going to probably Jefferson and Amon-Ra, like keep it simple. But then I'm worried about Addison, right? Maybe Addison goes for 130. So maybe I'll just go both QBs. I'll go Goff, Darnold, passing yards, probably 260, 270. I don't care. I'll blind bet it and then just, sit back. And as long as they're in the shotgun, I'm happy. So I'm stoked. I can't wait for that game. Any other games this week that are, mildly exciting? Anything titillating? It's ugly out there.
Go ahead, Anthony.
No. Like my short answer is no. I think Bengals Steelers would have been my other one. Though it was a good competitive game, it was a bit lackluster from a scoring perspective. But no, I think that the only game that's really worth anything today, I think, is the Sunday night game.
We got a lot of time until Sunday night. Jesus.
I think the two NFC North games should be good. I think both the Falcons and Bucks are in winning their in scenario, or Falcons need the Bucks to lose, but Bucks winning their in. I think the Panthers Falcons could be a sneaky little shootout between Bryce Young against a bad pass defense and Michael Penix and what could be the last start of his rookie season, trying to get a playoff spot.
Okay, sure. Well,
Something there.
That's
So
for
at
time,
least,
man.
relative to the Week 18 landscape, I think it'll be one of the better watches today.
Okay, cool. We're gonna wrap up shortly. What about Super Bowl futures? Who do we like? If you had to bet on team to sneaky, to win sneakily, right? Not obviously the Chiefs, but maybe say like the Vikings or the Chargers or something crazy.
If I had to bet a sneaky team to win the Super Bowl or just get there,
Well, win. Well, you got to win.
yeah, true. You're right. Man, I would love to say the Bucks, but their defense is just too bad. But that offense is killer.
Yeah, if they have Godwin, you can maybe talk me into it. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You said the Vikings. I like that. They might end up being the 1 seed, though.
That would count. I want to say because if you had ranked the Super Bowl contenders, right, it's probably Chiefs, Ravens, Bills,
Eagles. Yeah, those are
Eagle.
probably
Yeah. Exactly.
Those are probably the top 4 in whatever order you feel like putting them in is just fine. Maybe Washington.
Oh, okay. Well, that's sneaky. Okay. I'm
Maybe
not sure their
Washington.
D can hold up, but yeah.
No, but their defense is coming along. They did trade for Marshawn Lattimore, but hey, you're probably. I mean, they probably don't win the Super Bowl, but I think that they can be a sneaky team to make some noise if things go the right way.
What about the Rams? Right? You just feed Puka, maybe Cooper. Revitalizes. The defense has been a lot better. You got veteran QB, elite running back.
That's a good one too. The Rams are a good one. The Packers, I think, even a bit, but I just don't know if their offense is going to be able to put enough together against some of the really good defenses. But yeah, I mean, the NFC kind of feels like it's more open than the AFC. So if you want to pick a sneaky contender, I think I think it's going to come from the NFC. If you're going to get a surprise team to make
for
it.
sure. Nobody's going to bet on Pittsburgh again after that, right? Bengals. Yeah. Since he got in, I'd probably maybe Cincy, but I mean,
their defense is just so bad, and they've won 5 straight to even put themselves in this position. And yeah, that's a nice run, but then they got to win 4 more.
What do they need today? They need Miami to lose.
They need Miami to lose or tie, and they need Denver to lose. I don't know if they need both or one or the other to happen. They probably need both to happen.
I think
probably
they need both.
So Jets could definitely win, right? Because it's Huntley, but yeah, that's going to be Carson Wentz.
I think the Broncos win and get in. Honestly, it's in Denver. You've got Carson Wentz. I think the Broncos are going to win.
Okay. We're gonna wrap up. We pretty much covered everything we can. We're running on fumes here. We got, there's not much exciting going on today, but next Thursday we're definitely podding for the playoffs. Next Sunday we'll pod because we can talk about the Saturday games too, right? I live for the playoffs, right? That first 2 weeks when there's tons of games, tons of stakes. For me, it's the best part of the year, better than the fantasy playoffs, just because we just know we got good teams. Okay. Any last thoughts, last remarks, epiphanies from this season?
Just noted, John, you mentioned something about the Niners having a last place schedule going into next season, which is true. Don't always take stock into it. I'm looking at the Giants 2025 home games right now. They have a last place schedule. Their home games are obviously the Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders. And then the other teams they've got, the non-division teams they've got coming into MetLife are the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Packers, the Vikings, and the 49ers.
Yeah, that's rough.
Talk about a last place schedule.
Jesus, Jason did they play the NFC South. He already had it. I was like, how do you know all the schedule already? It's like, so that's what happens when your team's out of the playoffs. Nate, what do you got for me?
Keep an eye on Chuba Hubbard next year. 6th in the league in yards before contact this season. Jonathan Brooks probably not going to be ready to start next year. Just got a new contract. If he was running this well this year with another offseason of improvements to the O-line, Chuba Hubbard could sneak into that next year. We saw it break 100 a few times, get touchdowns on the goal line, catch passes. He can kind of do it all. And if he puts it together, takes another step, he could kind of break out even further.
Okay, I like it.
I am all in on Chuba Hubbard next year. I am all in on Chuba Hubbard next year. So I love that you brought that up.
All right. Early next season sleeper, Chuba Hubbard. I love it. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. So next Thursday we'll be on. Next Sunday we'll be on. We're just going to keep potting while there's football. As long as people are watching, we love talking football. And this is the only bad week. This is it. Every week 1 through 17 are great. Everything after week 18 is great. But we still got the great Sunday nighter, and I can't wait. I am stoked. If you guys want to tail some of my bets, maybe I'll tweet them out because I'm going to have my mortgage on the line. All right. Till next week, guys.